Welcome to part 1 of my Chernobyl video series. On the 26th of April 1986 at 1:48 PM, the world's worst nuclear accident to date took place. This area is now a part of Ukraine, and everybody living in the main city, which is Pripyat, which we visit in this video series, it had a population of 49,000 people, and not to mention the surrounding villages that had thousands of other residents at the time. They were all told that they had 3 hours to evacuate, but the thing is they were told that they would be able to return in 3 days and only to take the bare essentials, but of course they were never able to return. So many of the places we explore in this series, many of the items of the residents remain. There are still many hot radioactive spots around this area that we will enter, still evidence of Reactor 4's explosion. So let's go explore this very sad but fascinating place. Good morning guys, what you just saw was us driving an hour and a half from Kiev, and now we have arrived at the start of the exclusion zone here of Chernobyl. And here behind me we have one of the fences here, not to cross because it's radioactive. Right now my guide Igor is just sorting out some paperwork to get in through the checkpoint, because they have to check your passport, they have to have you fully registered, you have to sign papers saying that you won't do this, you won't do that, because it's quite dangerous inside in some areas. I'm lucky enough to be doing these videos with a tour company called Solo East, and they're going to be showing me around today around this whole Chernobyl zone. So if you come to Chernobyl, all the information for their company is going to be linked below. Watch the videos first and then you'll get an idea if it's something that you want to come and check out. Alright guys, so we just made it through 2 more checkpoints. The abandoned houses you saw, that was the Chernobyl town, and that's where a lot of the kind of administration for this exclusion zone happens, and where some people actually stay. For example, there's 7,000 guards for this area in total, but they're not always working. It can be anywhere from 150 guards working at a time around this whole area. We've just shown up at this area here. Over here they have a field testing place to grow plants and test their radioactive levels. So Igor's gonna take us for a walk and explain to us the levels and etc.
0.16, it is absolutely normal radiation background because we are staying on clean road. Asphalt was changed. Let's move off road. So as long as we are moving off road, the radiation is increasing. 0.17, it's not bad. 0.18, 0.20, 0.21. This is exactly like in my apartment in Kiev. 0.24 and 0.39.
And what's a dangerous level?
So dangerous level, it should be a million times higher than now. Dose of radiation is danger. Dose of radiation. Now it's 0.44 microsieverts per 1 hour. So to get dose of radiation we have to spend here hours, you know. So if you stay here in this very place for 1 hour, our body will get 0.55 microsievert. Usually you get 10 times more in a plane than here.
In a plane. So if you spend 8 hours on a plane, you'd be quite radioactive.
Yes, yes. Pilots are all radioactive.
That's not dangerous?
That's quite dangerous because pilots who make long distance flight, like between continents, Europe, America, Europe, after 10 years they cannot be donors for blood and organs.
Alright guys, so Igor here has just brought me to this experimental field trial site, and basically this is where they grow different kinds of vegetables and they test them for their radioactive levels. Pretty interesting. They don't test them by eating them though, do they, Igor?
I'm not going to have lunch today because I don't want to be part of experiment.
Okay. So we've just turned up at an abandoned kindergarten here, and Igor's just doing a ground reading here, and this is the same soil that was here during the contamination. And that's quite high, isn't it?
Here on the ground we have the same level of radiation like flying in a plane at altitude of 12 kilometers across Atlantic. To stay here for a long time and to live here, it is danger. But you know, it was calculated by Ukrainian scientists to get problem from radiation, we have to spend here more than 20,000 hours. Staying here for 2 minutes, it is okay. Welcome.
Thanks.
But also almost no radiation inside.
Right. So it's safer inside than it is outside.
Let's say safer outside, because have a look at it. The building is in bad condition. There are many buildings which are ready to collapse and they can kill us.
This is insane. Just all these kind of bunk beds. Crazy to think that this was once used every day, and then one day just the reactor blew up and everything changed. Okay, all finished in the kindergarten. It's pretty creepy. We're going to the nuclear power plant now. So that building that you just saw with the cranes, that was reactor number 5, and that wasn't actually complete. It was 85% complete, and it was supposed to be finished 6 months after reactor number 4 blew up. So that's just all abandoned over there in the background. And now we're coming up to reactor number 1, 2, 3 and 4. We can see the sarcophagus, which is used to cover up reactor 4, but it's still a work in progress. They still have to dismantle reactor number 4. The project's still not complete. These are the workers that are building this guy and dismantling reactor number 4 remains inside this sarcophagus here. We just passed a fire station, and from that fire station and some surrounding fire stations, 28 firefighters came to extinguish the flames from the explosion. And so they were exposed to the radiation. Basically what happens when you're exposed to radiation at that level, you get diarrhea, your hands start to shake, your skin starts to fall off, and within 2 months they were all dead, and they had to be buried in concrete coffins to control the radiation coming from their bodies. They were buried in Moscow in Russia. So now we're just walking towards the reactor. We're measuring microsieverts, and it's increasing as we get closer. 0.73. Before the sarcophagus was put on, what was the reading here?
Around 3 microsieverts.
3.
So now it is up to 1 microsievert. So 3 times less. This is how this place looked before November 2016.
Okay.
It's a bit more than 1 year ago. And this is how it is look now. It looks now.
Right.
So this new shelter is very thin. It's made out of very thin metal shields and insulation. And you can see 2 rails connected to the ceiling of new object, right? 2 remote controlled cranes have been already installed here. And using those cranes, this big structure will be dismantled. But first they want to open it in some part and take out the worst stuff, which is melted fuel, magma. This magma will be moved to the storage number 1 called Reactor. Using these cranes, this old sarcophagus will be also dismantled. Using only plutonium from inside of sarcophagus, it is possible to kill 100 million of people.
That's one of the reasons this place is so heavily guarded, is because they don't want terrorists coming in and taking really dangerous substances and doing whatever they do with really dangerous substances.
It's possible to make some very dirty bomb and poison other people, you know.
Dirty bomb, yeah. And this is one of the radioactive dogs, one of the many wolves of Chernobyl. Hello, mate.
I'm going to feed it.
You're gonna feed him? Nice. So that sarcophagus you just saw has so far cost $2 billion to build. Alright, so now we're going to head into Pripyat, and that's the sign for Pripyat town. The city was established in 1970 and it had a population of 49,000 people, and only 9 out of those 49,000 were working in the nuclear power plant. The disaster happened in 1986, so it was only 16 years until when it was abandoned. Many of the constructions and things were still being built. You're about to see, and we'll head in now. Oh. So to enter Pripyat town we have to go through another checkpoint. Alright guys, that's just Igor going in and doing the paperwork. Check this out over here. So that's just a big old abandoned building, and it looks like there's heaps more down here. There's so much snow here that apparently this is a lot more snow than normal. It kind of gives the place this more crazy kind of feel, you know what I mean? Let's head in now and see what the city is like. This is like the main kind of attraction, if you will, of this trip, because it's just a huge city that's been abandoned.
So people from here were evacuated in one day.
Evacuated in one day?
Yes, because it was dangerous to stay for them any longer. During 4 days it was possible to die here, in some places. Not everywhere in Pripyat, but in some parts. So this is main street of this town called Lenin Boulevard. People from here were evacuated so quickly, but they were told it is only for 3 days. Don't be worried, be happy, you would be back in 3 days. Take only bare essentials, like money, documents and food supply for 3 days.
Did the people who told them that they were going to be evacuated for 3 days and then brought back know that they would never come back?
No one understood what is going on, because even Gorbachev was told they're going to fix reactor and put back it into operation by May or June. This is the word of Gorbachev. Gorbachev was leader of Soviet Union at that time. Even he was told they're going to fix reactor number 4.
So basically what you're saying is the people that were in charge of the nuclear plant here, they didn't know how dangerous what they were playing with was?
All equipment was out of scale. Only when soldiers came here with military equipment they can measure radiation here. Only after that they realized that radiation is too high, and they start to think about this town evacuation.
Right.
They were told design of reactors are so perfect, so safe. It could be set up even on Red Square.
Red Square is a place in Moscow, right?
Yes, yes.
So we just arrived in Pripyat city centre. Now we're going to go explore. Join me in the next episode, guys, where we go deeper into Pripyat town. We find the school, supermarkets, swimming pools, and even a hospital. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.